Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I'm Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas, joined by Brian Leonard at B Leonard Sports and Drew Martin at Drew Martin Bets. Make sure you guys are giving those guys a nice follow on Twitter. All right, one of the games I was looking at this weekend, so I'm excited to talk about it. Utah at USC. Utah top 10 ranking this week. Only laying 3.5 at USC, who's off that loss against BYU. Marco Sandwich game, my favorite game last week. Happy to get there. But this line is interesting, Brian. I'll start with you. It
is very interesting. I made the line for Utah coming into the season. Obviously, you know, everybody was talking about Utah. We've talked about this many times, the team we wanted to bet on. But USC's been a little bit of a disappointment, and now they're down to probably the fourth-string quarterback that they would have started spring ball with. The thing is, for me, I made the number 4. Talent ratings, Utah's 39th in the country, while USC's 5th. That's a lot of people who handicap based on talent levels, like the USC as a home dog in this situation. The problem you have with USC is it's a major coaching advantage here for Utah. Much better head coach, much better defensive coordinator. So you've got, to me, this is a kind of a, if you look at it with your eyes, you like Utah. If you look at it by, okay, this is what they've done, but this is the talent level, you like USC here. Utah's off of Northern Illinois and Idaho. So they really haven't had to show anything early. They played that big game against BYU, so they've been able to hold some things back. So I wouldn't read too much into how they played in those games, and they played pretty well.
Well, against BYU, they also benefited from 2 pick sixes.
It was 2 pick sixes, but a lot of people won't remember that. They just remember what the final score was. But USC is off of Stanford and BYU. And now I know Stanford is not the team we thought they were. BYU is still a pretty good team. So you've got USC coming off of 2 games in which they were tested against another team in Utah who had basically extra time to prepare for this game because they played Northern Illinois and Idaho. So I would expect the Utah offense to really come out in this game and look a lot better than they have so far. But USC is getting a defensive lineman back, which is maybe their best defensive player in this game. From a talent standpoint, it's going to be the USC defense here going up against that Utah offense, which I think is pretty good. But my line says 4. It's not enough for me to play either side.
Drew, last week I did play BYU for the situational spot and because I was like, this line looks so fishy late. BYU got bet up. Luckily, I still covered my initial bet of 3.5. I feel like now this is the flip side. USC getting 3.5 looks super fishy. Has me looking towards the Trojans. But as Brian mentioned, I'm terrified to back Clay Helton here, especially catching points. I feel like it just looks too good to be true.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of betting USC here. And I see what Brian was saying in terms of talent levels, top to bottom. But with Utah, the Utes, we get the better defense, the better coach team, and the better quarterback. I think that, you know, we're starting to check off a lot of boxes in terms of the teams you're looking to bet right now. I know they are on the road, but just a 3.5 number right now. I think this Utah team is really worth a look here, Kelly. I like them. I bet them off the open. Also, keep in mind, Slovis had 3 interceptions against BYU. It's really tough to handicap, you know, turnovers going forward, but going against good defensive lines, I think there's a correlation here. And USC is going to have a real tough time in the trenches blocking this defensive line for Utah. I think Utah gets after him defensively, causes turnovers. I'm laying 3.5 here with the Utes.
All right.
I just wanted to point out, you mentioned Slovis, that game against Stanford where he looked so good. Well, maybe Stanford's not very good defensively, so you got to keep that in mind.
All right, lots of things to keep in mind in this game. All 90-day all-access packages, normally $849, just $5.99 this week, only at WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com.